Fans of this sport are built differently. They demand excellence and expect nothing less. Big Ten Wrestling and Beyond is a show dedicated to the fans. Your new home for Big Ten Wrestling is here, and it starts now.
Yes, it is the post-championship edition of Big Ten Wrestling and Beyond. Rick Pizzo, Shane Sparks. Recovery is a big part of wrestling. And Shane, I have to say, I'm impressed by your recovery after a monster week in College Park. You look fresh as a daisy.
It was a couple of phenomenal days, Rick. I am still up. I can't come down. So much great energy. We saw a fantastic Big Ten tournament.
We did see some unexpected winners, some surprises throughout the bracket, but our headlines start with exactly what we expected to see in College Park, and that was dominance by Penn State. An 8th Big Ten title for Cael Sanderson and the Nittany Lions. They sent 9 wrestlers to the semis, 7 to the finals, had 5 champs, 2 runner-ups, and 2/3 blowing away the rest of the field.
How about those Wolverines? Michigan finishing in 2nd place ahead of Nebraska and Iowa. They qualified 9 guys to the upcoming NCAA championships, 8 in the top 4, led by Dylan Rigas, Austin Gomez, Will Lewan, and Shane Griffith, all runner-up for Michigan. Great weekend for the Wolverines.
Aaron Brooks' amazing season and career continues with a 4th championship. Brooks, one of 5 individual champs for the Nittany Lions. Braden Davis got it all started. Levi Haynes, Mitchell Messenbrink in an absolute classic at 165. Then you had the big fellas in Brook and Kirkfleet. Amazing stuff by the Nittany Lions.
Some Messenbrink magic. Mitchell Messenbrink, he trailed 9-2, 30 seconds left in the 2nd period, a late takedown, then in the 3rd period, a 6-point flurry, 3 takedown, 3 near fall. He dethrones the reigning Big Ten champion. What a weekend for Mitchell Messenbrink.
One of the nation's favorite wrestlers, quickly becoming a fan favorite, much like this guy, Ridge Lovett, who finally got that elusive first career Big Ten title, and he did it by getting revenge on the man who denied him a couple of years ago, beating Austin Gomez.
And the University of Iowa women won the 2024 National Collegiate Women Wrestling Championships. They had 6 champions and 10 All-Americans. Friend of the show, Kylie Welker, earned the most team points in the tournament. Congratulations to the Iowa women's team.
We'll have much more on that story coming up a little bit later in the show, but we start with Penn State and that unbelievable run by the Nittany Lions. I mentioned 9 wrestlers, all finishing inside the top 3, including 5 champs. And Carter Starachi injury defaulted out of his first 2 matches, trying to get ready for the NCAAs. Shane, it's a conversation that we've been having for nearly a decade now. But as everybody tries to get closer to Penn State, the Nittany Lions just find a way to continue to pull away.
That is so impressive. 9 guys in the top 3, the 5 champs. 2 guys were second. You had 2 guys with Aaron Nagao and Tyler Kasak going 3rd place at 133 and 149 respectively. Their 8th Big Ten title under head coach Cael Sanderson. This team has won 10 of the last 12 NCAA championships. Rick, this is a freight train, and they are not stopping anytime soon. It is hard to give this some kind of perspective, some kind of level set. This is excellence.
All 10 wrestlers obviously qualifying for the NCAAs, and that includes Carter Starachi, who I mentioned didn't even wrestle. Think about that, Shane. A program record for total points at the championship, and you don't have, arguably, one of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers in the nation.
It was a storyline at the Big Tens. Carter Starachi, 64-match win streak, unfortunately had that injury against Edinburgh in the final dual meet inside a rec hall, so he came out on a couple of occasions. The injury default. Now his status for the national tournament is going to be a storyline. Wish him the best. He's a competitor. I expect to see him, as Penn State will be the favorite to get it done in Kansas City.
We hope he's healthy, and no matter how much his seed is hurt by those 2 losses, he will still be the favorite at 174 pounds, without doubt. Michigan, an unbelievable performance by Sean Bourmet and the Wolverines. You have those veterans on this team, guys like Ragusin and Lewan, who have been around for a very long time, and that experience really showed up this weekend.
This team 2 years ago won the Big Ten championship in Lincoln, followed that up in Detroit at the national tournament by taking seconds. This is a really good team. You mentioned the veteran leadership. 8 guys in the top 4. They had 4 in the finals. 9 guys qualified for the NCAA tournament. Sean Bourmet and his staff, the Wolverines, were on the prowl. Really well done.
How about the rest of the top 5 and other impressive team performances? Yes, you had Penn State and Michigan at 1 and 2, but you have Nebraska coming in 3rd. You had Iowa at 4th. Ohio State and Rutgers were battling for that 5th and 6th spot. Buckeyes were able to take it. But for Rutgers, this has got to be considered a step in the right direction. And let's give Shane some credit here, because Rutgers has a Big Ten champ at 133 in Dylan Chauver. It's a call that you made a couple of weeks ago, and he really set the tone for this team this weekend.
And at the beginning of the season, I said I expected Rutgers to be the most improved team in the Big Ten. Really good dual meet schedule for Rutgers. They were 4-4 in the Big Ten. Very balanced team. 7th to the national tournament. That is for the 3rd consecutive year under head coach Scott Goodale. This is their best finish since 2016. They get a Big Ten champion in Dylan Chauver. And, of course, Dean Peterson, the number 9 seed in the second round, I should say, upset the number 1 seed Matt Ramos. That's a great 1-2 punch. They got a really solid team. And, yes, great things are going on in Piscataway.
This is the kind of performance, the kind of result that also helps in recruiting. You bring them in, you show them the arena that you're wrestling in, the conference that you get to wrestle in. Certainly Rutgers, one of those teams on the up and up. Let's turn our attention now to individual storylines, and I want to start with Aaron Brooks, named the most outstanding wrestler at this year's championships. He dominated Zach Glazier of Iowa, a guy who has had a terrific season. Aaron Brooks just makes it look so easy. It's almost as if the guy on the other side knows he doesn't have a chance, and Brooks is well aware of that as well.
Aaron Brooks, 5-time Big Ten finalist, now a 4-time Big Ten champion. He joins greats Ed Ruth and David Taylor in Penn State program history to win 4 Big Ten conference titles. Here is a stat, Rick. Wrap your head around this.
I'm ready.
Aaron Brooks in his last 2 Big Ten championship runs, 6 matches. In those 6 matches, he has put up 100 points.
That's over 16 points per match by my math. 16 point, maybe 6, somewhere around that. Impressive stuff, no doubt, by Aaron Brooks. I just love the fact that he is so smooth. Shane once said to me, would it look that different if we wrestled against Aaron Brooks? Because he makes really good guys look very ordinary. Don't worry, we are not getting out there in any type of Big Ten Network singlet anytime soon. His teammate, Mitchell Messenbrink, I mentioned, has started to become a fan favorite. And if anybody that didn't know about this guy was watching the championships and they got to see what he did at 165 after falling way behind against Dean Hamady, I'm sure they're now on the Messenbrink bandwagon as well.
I think this is up for Big Ten Match of the Year. This one really lived up to the hype. He was down 9-2. It's all about that pace. He scored a late takedown, put himself right back into the match to end the second period. And here you see the takedown. He plants Dean Hamady onto the res light, 3 near fall, and then he finishes the match by riding him the entire minute. There's his mom and dad. His family was there to see it. Mitchell Messenbrink, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. And if I could sneak in another true freshman, Braden Davis. Here's another great stat, Rick. I told you I had a couple of them. Braden Davis, true freshman. His 4 wins. He had to knock off a few All-Americans. Eric Barnett, then Michael DiAugustino, then he had to beat Patrick McKee of Minnesota. Braden Davis, true freshman. Those 4 guys combined, he beat Justin Cardani in the first round. 23 years of college wrestling experience.
Hey, sometimes the ignorance of youth pays off when you don't know what you don't know. We do know this about Mitchell Messenbrink, though. He's not just a terrific wrestler. He's a great young man and a unique personality in the world of college wrestling. We want to show you the video from his post-match interview with Hannah Mears. First, he wants the handshake from Hannah, but then he wants to thank the camera person as well for doing their job. He is just so much fun to watch on and off the mat. Our congrats to Mitchell Messenbrink for winning at 165. Let's move on to 184, and Isaiah Salazar, just a hammer, one of the strongest guys you'll ever see at that weight class. He may not be the flashiest, but his style works really well. And this past weekend, it worked so well, he takes home a chip.
We talk about it a lot with Isaiah Salazar, Rick. He's got come here strength.
I knew it was coming.
I
knew it was coming.
And Isaiah Salazar continues to improve. 2 years ago, 8th at the Big Tens. Last year, 4th at the Big Tens. Now he's a Big Ten champion. He's only got 1 loss this season, and he has really dominated. Nice win here to win the Big Ten title against Bernie Truax. This went to sudden victory. Gets the takedown, puts him on his back. There's Trevor Brandvold and Brandon Eggum, Minnesota's first Big Ten champion at 184 since the great Kevin Steinhaus back in 2012. And the cool thing with Minnesota, with Patrick McKee and Isaiah Salazar yesterday, Rick, one of my favorite singlets, that Minnesota gold singlet. You got to earn the right. You only wrestle in that singlet on the biggest of stages.
First conference champ at any weight since Gable Steveson, and that is pretty good company. Bo Bartlett loses for the first time this year. Jesse Mendez is the guy who hands him that loss, and Mendez is one of those guys, and I say this in the most complimentary fashion of all time. If you want to end him, you probably have to kill him, because he is one of the toughest guys you'll ever see, and we have video, Shane, to prove it.
Well, you look at Jesse Mendez. This guy seeks out a fight. Look at that, a couple of black eyes, the battle scars. They tell the stories of courage and perseverance. This was the sweetest takedown I've ever seen in person. Foot sweep to a double leg. To take a guy like Bo Bartlett down, you have got to have perfect, clean technique. What a weekend for Jesse Mendez. Knocks off the reigning Big Ten champion in Real Woods. Very physical in that match against the Hawkeye. And then beats Bo Bartlett. Avenges an earlier season loss. Gives Bartlett his first loss of the season. Bo Bartlett's been fantastic. And I want to say this real quick about Bo Bartlett. Great effort. Your best effort has got to be acceptable. Your best has got to be okay. And when he was on the podium, smiled, should be proud of the moment. Those are the little things I notice with the Penn State culture of gratitude and appreciating opportunities.
He, of course, will still have a chance to win that national title and will be one of the favorites at 141. Take a quick break. When we come back, Shane caught up with Ridge Lovett after his Big Ten championship run. We'll hear that interview, plus tough wrestling focusing on that 165-pound match, and much more on the Iowa women taking home the Natty. The one line that was missing from Ridge Lovett's college wrestling resume was a Big Ten championship. That box no longer unchecked after this past weekend's title run at 149 pounds. And after his victory, Shane had a chance to catch up with the Husker star.
Shane Sparks here inside the Xfinity Center, College Park, Maryland, site of the 2024 Big Ten Championships. We crown 10 champions. One of those at 149 pounds. Ridge Lovett, congratulations. You win your first Big Ten title. Familiar foe with the dangerous Austin Gomez. You've wrestled him before. What was the approach and the mindset against a guy like Gomez?
The approach was just keep everything the same. Do the same stuff I've been doing all season. Just don't let it be one takedown, right? Just make sure the first flying, crazy stuff's happening, and I'll win those exchanges. And, just sticking to that.
What did you feel, Ridge, was the most critical aspect in that victory?
I think that the most critical aspect was probably just wrestling my match, right? Not letting him slow me down, just doing my thing. When he's in on shots, turn them into scrambles, just trying to prolong wrestling. The more wrestling that's happening, the better I'm going to do.
Watching you in the tunnel before you're ready to take the Resolite and wrestle for a Big Ten title, I can't imagine the feeling. What's it like to wrestle on this stage for a Big Ten title?
It's awesome. A couple of years ago, I was out here, ended up taking second. So a little bit of chip on my shoulder, just trying to get this one done. And it's a big morale boost moving into nationals. So it was just a lot of just being focused, little nerves, but not really. It was a lot of excitement, just ready to go.
How do you deal with and combat those nerves?
Just know, I tell myself that I'm the best, right? Like, I believe I'm the best, and that's just what I tell myself. Just go be amazing, do my thing, and good things will happen.
You mentioned in the post-match interview that you saw Silas Allred at 197 pounds win a Big Ten title last year during your red shirt. You wanted to be a part of that party. How inspiring is it to have teammates like Silas Allred, guys that have done it?
It's awesome. We got a great group of guys that I'm in there working out with every day, guys I can lean on that are there to support me and just help me be the best that I can be. And with Silas winning last year, I felt a little left out having to sit on the side, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want my name on the wall too.
I gave you the nickname during that Big Ten final, the Wizard. We have seen you do some amazing stuff. It's wizardry on the Big Ten Network. You mentioned working with a guy like Brock Hardy, being in those interesting positions. How do you explain it, Ridge? You do some stuff that is just fascinating.
Just never stop wrestling. Just do what I can to be amazing. Just doing my thing.
Came out of Post Falls, Idaho, four-time Idaho State champion, a lot of success in Fargo, but to wrestle at Nebraska, why has Nebraska been so special for you?
it's a family. Like, we've built a culture there. It's a winning culture. We're all doing the right things. We're all helping build each other up. We all have the same goals in mind, and it's contagious.
Put into words what it's like to wrestle for a guy with the passion of Mark Manning.
It's amazing. Like, he cares more than we do, which it's hard to say because I really care, and I know all my teammates really care. But Manning, he's just so passionate about it. He loves us. Like, he's almost like my dad, right? I've been out here for 5 years now, and anything I need, Manning's my guy. He's got me, and he'll do anything for me.
You took a red shirt last season. What were the biggest benefits in taking that time off? What did you focus on the most?
A lot on neutral, but a lot of it, I think the biggest part for me was it made me hungry again, right? Taking that year off, I didn't get to compete a lot, and just having to sit out and watch, it really made me just that much more ready to get back into it.
National finals in 2022. A couple years back, you wrestled Yanni Diakob-Hollis in that national championship match. What were the biggest takeaways from that experience?
And that one, I was reserved. I was nervous. Everything was happening real fast. But this year, I'll be ready for all that and just go wrestle my match. Just forget about the nerves, forget about all the distractions, and just go get it done.
You got less than 2 weeks before the national tournament in Kansas City. Do you do a lot of visualizing mentally?
A little bit. Like, I try not to. I try to keep my mind off of the wrestling. You know, especially the hardest part's when I'm laying in bed night before. My heart starts racing. I'm thinking about wrestling. So it's just trying to forget about all that stuff and just be me.
What'll be the most important 2 things for you to have that success and get to the top of the podium as a national champion in Kansas City?
Go get in on legs, get on top, put people on their backs.
Before I let you go, tell me about the bling.
The bling? I don't know. I picked it up a little while ago.
That's not bling. That is some drip.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Congratulations, Ridge.
Thank you.
Ridge Lovett, your Big Ten champion at 149 pounds. He'll be a force in Kansas City.
There's tough wrestling and there's championship level tough wrestling. When we come back, it's a look back at the toughest moments from the 165-pound championship classic.
Tough wrestling. You better be tough. I love this segment. It fires me up. I'm in a full lather right now. Heart's beating. I love it. You never, ever give away those cheap points. Wrestle tough. Stay on top. Tough wrestling. This is the first time ever we're going to focus on one match. It was that tough. The 165-pound Big Ten final with Dean Hamady, the reigning Big Ten champion, and Mitchell Messenbrink. These two have combined for 46 victories, 39 bonus point wins. We talk about it all the time. Get to your offense quick. Dean Hamady with that reach, sweet ankle pick. He takes the lead 3-0. But I thought this was really critical. Hamady doesn't really commit to riding him. Pretty quick escape by Messenbrink, 3-1. Final 20 seconds every single week. We talk about short time scoring. Here is Hamady inside of 15 seconds. His second takedown gets that ride out. He's up 6-1. Here's Hamady in that top position, snakes a leg in. Messenbrink, really crafty work to get that escape, 6-2. Inside of a 1.5 second period. Dean Hamady on an attack from Mitchell Messenbrink. Hamady, such a great scrambler again, that range and athleticism. He gets behind. It is 9-2. This one is over, right? Not so fast. These escapes are so big. Messenbrink gets an escape, and watch Mitchell breathing heavy and then collect himself, center of the Resolites. 20 seconds left. Now we're down to 10 seconds. 9-3 match. Messenbrink set a leg attack. Final second period. Messenbrink gets the finish with 2 seconds left. He is right back into this match. 9-3. Boy, did this Big Ten final deliver. Here we are, early third period. Another good scramble with these guys, and Dean Hamady with a really good answer. He's got the reversal. Hamady back in control. You see that riding time over a minute for the Badger. The reigning Big Ten champion, Dean Hamady, sinks in a claw ride. Messenbrink just continues to wrestle positions. There is no quit in him. Huge escape for Mitchell Messenbrink. Now Hamady with the shot. Counterattack, locks his hands. puts Hamady onto his back. It's a three-point takedown, three-point near fall, and Mitchell Messenbrink has his first lead, 13-11, 1:15 remaining in that match. He rides out the Badger the remaining time in the third period. Mitchell Messenbrink, there's mom and dad, John and Burnett Messenbrink, with the Messenbrink family, the 2024 Big Ten Freshman of the Year, Mitchell Messenbrink. Tough wrestling. He's your Big Ten champ at 165. What a match, Rick. What a match.
One of the best matches we've seen at any championship in recent years. I get about 30 pounds on those guys. They're so tough, I want nothing to do. Congratulations to not just Mitchell Messenbrink, but
guys.
Dean Hamady for giving us a championship classic. One final break here on Wrestling and Beyond. We're back with the Natty winners, the Iowa women. A dramatic finish to the national championship. We'll show you how it went down when Wrestling and Beyond returns. The Iowa Hawkeye women's wrestling team claimed the national championship this past weekend, and it was dramatic. 6 individual champs for the Hawks. They were big-time underdogs heading into the finals. They trailed North Central by nearly 20 points, but they won those 6 individual championships. And Shane, how fitting is this? It's Kylie Welker, friend of the show, who we interviewed at 170 pounds, who needed to win the last match of the championships to lock it up for Iowa. Of course she did it, and she was thanked profusely afterwards by Clarissa Chun, the head coach. Kylie Welker committed before another wrestler was on the roster, before another assistant coach had even been hired.
Kylie Welker, one of the faces of that program. She's a superstar. Congratulations. Clarissa Chun, the head coach, the coach of the year, 6 champs, 10 All-Americans. Those 6 champions also, Rick, qualify for the Olympic trials next month at Penn State.
What an amazing inaugural season for the Hawkeyes. You get a half dozen individual national champs. You get the team champs. You get to dream of Olympic glory as well. Our congrats to Coach Chun and the Hawkeyes. That'll wrap up this edition of Wrestling and Beyond. For Shane Sparks, I'm Rick Pizzo. Thanks for the hang. We'll see you again next week.